Welcome to the Say It Out Loud podcast. I'm your host, Vasavi Kumar. If you're eager to gain clarity, speak with unwavering confidence, and liberate those inner voices, you're in the perfect spot. My mission here is to empower you to break free, find fulfillment, and ignite your passion. You ready? It's time to say it out loud. I've put together a guide of my top 10 tested and proven to work practical strategies and habits to help bright women like you say no, set your boundaries right, live confidently, and build healthy relationships, starting with the relationship you have with yourself. This is a self-paced guide, and I can't wait for you to dig into it so you can start becoming your most confident self, because she's in there waiting for you. Head to the link in my show notes or go to vasavikumar.com/guide and grab it today.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Talk podcast. As always, so happy to have you all here. Today I am joined by the amazing Vasavi Kumar, and I am so excited for you guys to hear this conversation. Vasavi is a licensed therapist, a coach, a podcast host of the Say It Out Loud podcast. She also has the Say It Out Loud group program, which we dive into what saying it out loud today means. You'll learn more about this and how when we say it out loud, when we are able to verbally express the ways that we feel inside, we step greater into our freedom and into our power. And that's what life is all about, right? Becoming more and more of ourselves and not holding back. We tie this into our day-to-day lives with our friendships, our romantic relationships, with all the people in our lives. We talk about how this relates to things in the past that maybe we haven't said out loud that now we are ready to. It's about owning up to who you are and being that person and finally freeing yourself. So if you're excited about that, which I know that I am, keep on listening and enjoy. Welcome to the Deep Talk podcast. I'm your host, Madison Brandt, and I'm a life coach, writer, and business owner. This podcast is all about discovering who you are and how you can transform your life, relationships, career, and overall well-being according to your authentic purpose. From raising your self-worth to dating in a way that serves you to forming daily healthy habits, we dive into the nitty-gritty of what it takes to create a life that feels good. We'll get deep, we'll laugh, and most importantly, we'll learn and grow together. Welcome to the Deep Talk podcast. Everybody, hi, I'm here with Vasavi. I'm so excited to be talking to you. How's your day going?
Day's going great. Thank you so much for having me, Madison.
Yes, and you're in Austin?
I'm in Austin, Texas. Yes, ma'am. But I am originally a New Yorker, born and raised. I've been here it's going to be 9 years at the end of this year.
Okay, what made you move to Austin?
You know, I was married. It's always a man. I was married. We moved from New York to Kansas. We lived in Kansas for 3 years. And then I said, I can't live here anymore. So we moved to Austin in 2013. I actually moved here. I was coaching at the time. I had just graduated my master's in social work from Columbia. And then I was also a certified coach. And this was when the coaching industry was brand new. And I was just burned out because I didn't know what I knew now, which is hustle culture is awful for you. I thought that was just like that. That's how I'd just been doing life. My whole life had always been about, I'm a go-getter. I'm a hustler. Like I know how to make shit happen. And while that's a beautiful quality to have, I'm not going to knock it. It definitely made me very burnt out. And so in 2013, I said to my husband at the time, I said, I think I need a change. I don't want to coach anymore. And I want to be a chef. So we moved to Austin so I could join plant-based culinary school.
Okay, so we have a whole story to go through.
We do. And actually, as I was just sharing this out loud with you, what I realized is every single time in my 11 years of business that I've ever needed a break and decided to do something else, it was always because I was burnt out. I just realized that. I went to yoga teacher training because I was burnt out from coaching. I went to plant-based culinary. I'm grateful for all of it because I got to learn how to cook. I reconnected with my nourishing side, my body. When I went to yoga teacher training in India, I got to go back to India, which is my motherland, but I realized my burnout in my coaching, in my business, always made me seek other avenues to reconnect back to myself. I just realized that.
I love that. I feel like that's me too. I used to want to be a makeup artist when I was in New York, and I went to the Fashion Institute there for a bit, and then I realized I hated it. Have done so many different things, but it's like burnout, do another thing. And now I have all these skills, but I'm like, same thing, yoga, another thing, another thing.
Mhm.
So here we are. This has been,
I will say to your audience who's listening to this and they may resonate with this, just a shift in perspective, because we can often shame ourselves for not having like our one thing that we want to be doing. And we're like, why am I so all over the place? And so this is the shift in perspective for me. And maybe this could help inform somebody's choices, moving forward. I've always used education as a way to get to know myself better. So whether it was my master's in education, master's in social work, coaches training, plant-based certification, former TV host, I got paid to do former TV host, radio show host, everything, yoga teacher training, everything that I've done in my life and invested in has always been the pathway inwards, has helped me to come inwards, just in case anyone's beating themselves up for thinking that they have bright, shiny object syndrome. I do think, though, if you notice yourself jumping from like program to program, course to course, you could slow down and just ask yourself, like, what would integrating all of my knowledge look like? What do I actually need in this season? Do I need another marketing business course? Do I need another Instagram reels course? Do I need another this? Or do I maybe just need to sit my ass down and really work through all the stuff that's still holding me back from putting myself out there in spite of all these courses?
yeah. Well, I want to get into your story, and it would be great if you could just share who you are, going tying all that around who you are, what you do, and then diving into your story a little bit more deeply.
Yeah, so my story, obviously it changes every interview, but it's because, as I change, my story pretty much is like I have a new perspective on my story, which I love because it's always fun to see yourself differently. I So my story in a nutshell, I am the daughter of Indian immigrants. I'm a first generation Indian immigrant. So I was born and raised in this country, in New York. My parents are from India. And I learned from a very young age how to mold myself to adapt. Whether it was, I lived in a pretty much all white town. So I learned how to be, accepted by the kids at school. And I learned how to not be made fun of, even though I got teased incessantly. At home, I learned, how to just kind of stay out of trouble, even though that didn't work. My mother always caught me in lies. I was lying since I was a kid. You know what I mean? Just like it was very hard for me. Not I didn't have a place where I could actually belong. I didn't feel like I belonged at school. I didn't feel like I belonged at home. And so, for me, my entire path and like who I am today, being 40 years old, is every path that I've ever taken has always been to understand myself. Not all the paths that I've taken have been the healthiest. I have been in and out of rehab twice, and I'm now over 3.5 years sober from cocaine. So, there's a lot of paths that I took in my life to help me understand myself. Some of them very painful, most of them very painful, like toxic codependent relationships, divorce, dating narcissists, not realizing that sometimes I was the narcissist too. Like, sometimes, realizing that I was the most toxic person in my life at one point, that's really when I got my power back, is when I realized that like I am the cause of my own suffering, completely, by sticking in relationships that just were one sided. But I took many paths to get to where I am. So I've just been someone who fundamentally believes that any single issue that you're dealing with, any trauma that you're experiencing, any unresolved emotions, you can use a plethora of healing modalities. So I love to dance. I love to walk. I love stillness. Yesterday, Madison, I was at my friend's rooftop pool. Did you know that you could just literally float on your back with your hands behind your neck and cross your legs and you just feel like you're on a waterbed? And I was like laying back, and my edible just hit. Like I took an edible right before I got to the pool, timed that shit perfectly. And I was just sitting there, laying there on the water, looking up at the clouds. And I'm like, oh, this is it. Like in that moment, I just felt I am one with myself. So my point in saying all of this is that there are so many different ways that you can come back home to yourself and release a lot of the things that have kept your throat chakra blocked off. And for me, saying it out loud, which is my methodology, which is the name of my podcast, Say It Out Loud. The name of my upcoming book is called Say It Out Loud. I have a group program coming up, Say It Out Loud. My methodology is, if you just say that shit out loud, whatever it is, your shame shrivels when you say it out loud. The thing that has kept you powerless is actually your greatest source of power, right? The thing that you're most ashamed of is the thing that actually is your unique advantage. It's the thing, it's your leg up. You know what I mean? Because when you can own that shameful part of you, that part of you that you're so embarrassed, you become unfuckwithable, right? And that's what I tell all the women in my group is like, listen, just say that shit out loud. Like say it, own it. It's like it's part of your story, but it doesn't have to be the driving force. You don't need to like allow that to control you anymore. So that's who I am in a nutshell. You can also just go to my website at vasavikumar.com and learn all about me.
Yeah, and I read your story and it was very like I don't know, it touched me a lot because you've gone through a lot and I think that people who go through a lot learn a lot about themselves and have a lot to share. And do you feel like your story through like addiction and mental health and everything, what did you learn do you feel like the most that really helped you create what you have now?
What a great question, Madison. The thing that I've learned many things. So number one thing that I've learned is I have the ability to soothe myself. I have the ability, like I'm it's like I have the ability to soothe myself also that everything is going to be okay and everything is fine. Like it's okay. It is. It always will. My trust in myself and God has gotten much deeper. I always remind myself if I can trust that the sun is going to come up every morning, why can I trust that the love of my life is around the corner? That this is going to like why can I trust with that type of blind faith, you know? So it's allowed me to deepen my blind faith, and it's not even blind. It's not even blind anymore. I see evidence everywhere. Another thing is that I realized about myself is that my all my so-called problems in life and my struggles in life were all a result of me not valuing what I brought to the table. Is like thinking I had to be someone different in order to be valuable. That's one thing that I learned. I know there's a lot of lessons, but I'm 40, so hey, that's what you get.
I need them all.
What else have I learned? I also learned that as long as I'm listening to my heart, I can't fuck it up. I can't make a wrong decision and I can't screw it up as long as I'm listening to my heart, my intuition, and I am being true to myself. I can't mess it up. I also realized that the things that, so I'm a generator, human design, and I realized so much that when I feel that spark within, when I am sparked from something externally and I'm like spark, that my sacrum really does talk to me. It's very funny. So those are my lessons. My lessons are like I have all the answers inside of me. These are things that like we see floating around on Instagram, but like I actually know it and I actually feel it. Every day is an opportunity for me to deepen it. I don't want anyone listening to this to think like, oh my God, she has it all figured out. She must never, ever deal with anything. No, are you kidding me? Like literally this morning I had a meltdown. Like it happens, you know, and then you just learn how to pick yourself back up and you just keep going. When you learn what you need, you're able to give that to yourself, and then your trust in yourself goes up, your respect in yourself goes up, your confidence goes up. So that's kind of where I'm that's kind of what I've learned in the past. That's a lot of what I've learned. I've learned so many things. You know, you'll just have to join one of my group programs and read my book. No, but it truly is that like the biggest thing is like you anything that you want in your life you can have, but you have to be willing to say it out loud because like your voice is your most sacred instrument, right? You can literally breathe life into the things that you want by saying it out loud. You can also breathe life into the things that you don't want, so watch what you say, right? I want to make it very clear that saying it out loud has nothing to do with being loud. It has nothing to do with being in your face. I'm not in your face. I'm just like here I am. Saying it out loud is truly a practice. It is not a way of being. I mean it is a way of being, you know. It is but it's not what we think. Like it's not like, oh, you have to be loud to say it out loud. No, it's literally a practice. Just like we go to the bathroom and we hydrate. Oh shoot, did I say out loud today how I felt about myself? Did I check in with myself out loud? Hey, how are we doing? Did I release that shame? Do I have stuff inside of me that I'm harboring, that I'm holding in, that's eating away, that's clogging my creative channel, my conduit? Like, no, like say that shit out loud. So it's a practice. It's an everyday practice.
Yeah, and I feel like with like other people, it can be really hard to want to feel
Mm-hmm.
like they're going to accept you. How did you get to a place where you can say it and not be afraid of what other people think? Because I think that that's something, and I struggle with that a lot. It's like I was listening to this podcast the other day. It was like we often choose belonging over authenticity because it's
Mm.
easier. It's easier to feel like we fit in. It's easier to feel sometimes it's easier feels like to trust other people than ourselves. And so how do you learn to say it out loud even though there's potential loss involved?
Madison, you're asking such great questions, by the way. These are questions that no one has ever asked me, actually. So for me personally, I have been in therapy. I entered therapy when I was 12 years old. Okay. So I have practice talking out loud. I have practice saying it out loud. From the age of 12, I have learned. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful that at the age of 12 years old, when we're just developing and starting to hit puberty, getting our periods, I was in therapy talking about trying to make sense out of my parents' relationship, their marriage, why my mom was such an angry bitch all the time, why my father was a cold-hearted bastard to my mother. Like these are things that I would literally say to my therapist, my mom's a crazy bitch. I would say my father is a cold son of a bitch towards my mother. I would say that at 12 years old. At 12 years old, I would say that. That's how much was inside of me. Right. But and my therapist never broke confidentiality. She would listen. She never judged me. She never shamed me for feeling the way I felt. So I dedicated my book to my therapist. That's who I dedicated. I dedicated my book to my therapist because she taught me it was safe to say it out loud. I'm lucky that I know how it feels to say things out loud and not be judged. I also know what it's like to say things out loud and be brutally shamed and be made to feel this small, So I have created a space where we have 3 rules in my group programs: no shaming, no fixing, no judging, period. No unsolicited advice. Unless someone is saying, can someone please give me some feedback? So can someone please tell me what they think? And I will always redirect it back and say, well, what do you think? Before you go ahead and start getting feedback, because that is a lazy way for you to not have to do the work yourself. Stop asking for feedback, start looking inwards. So my people who come into my space are grateful because they want to take their power back. You don't get your power back by saying, oh, can you tell me what you think? No, what do you think about it? Right? I always want to put the power back in people's hands. It can be very scary to join a group called Say It Out Loud, especially if you're not used to talking out loud. And what I can say is, you got to give yourself a chance. I had someone join the group. Within a week, she said, this is not for me. I said, okay, no problem. She left. No problem. I'm not going to keep you hostage. You know what I mean? So join the group, see how it feels. And, we have 15 people who joined last time. I'm expecting way more this time, which 15 was a perfect number, great number. But for people who are not used to saying it out loud, it's just a practice. And I'm saying that, I'm acknowledging that there is trauma involved as far as not giving, like, if you've been traumatized to say it out loud before, I can understand where it's coming from. However, I do want to say that doesn't mean that you do not have the ability to say it out loud. You just have had a really shitty experience. And I'm here to show you that it's safe and it's fun and it's freeing to say it out loud when you're in the right container. So that's what I got.
I love the part you said about fixing. I
Yeah.
love that a lot. And I also am thinking about when you were talking about in relational containers, maybe like a romantic relationship, how it might be hard to, if you have trauma or you're trying to self-soothe, how you can practice saying it out loud there. Because I know you had mentioned you'd had relationships that had been, codependent or toxic or things like that.
Very. So what I've learned, so I am single now and consciously single now and open to love, and open to calling that person in. And let's just look at friendships. Okay. I have great friendships. Friendships are a great opportunity and container to practice how you be in relationships, because it's like how you show up in your friendships is how you show up in your romantic life, right? It's just, you cannot separate who you are. Like, it's just who you are. So with some of my friendships, right? So I'm anxious avoidant. I'm anxious avoidant. I'm both anxious avoidant. I have a girlfriend who's anxious attachment. We have such a beautiful relationship. She needed space for the past 2 weeks. And she checked in with me and she goes, hey, I love you. I'm overwhelmed by a bunch of stuff. Like, she had her own stuff going on, and so she let me know. And I was like, okay, like, no problem. Like, thank you for letting me know. And I left her alone for 2 weeks. I messaged her once and I was just like, just letting you know I'm thinking of you. Like, and she was like, I love you. And that was it. But like, I had to train myself to be okay with space. I was not okay with space. It made me very nervous. It brought up my fears of abandonment. It brought up, because I used to see my parents have awful fights and then the next day they'd be fine. And I'm like, wait, how did you guys repair that? Like, what happened? How'd y'all actually fix that? No one showed me that you can repair. So I didn't really learn how to repair. I just saw the fighting part and I didn't know how to repair it. So I've really dedicated my life learning how to repair. And I believe that any relationship can be worked on when 2 people are committed to saying it out loud. So what I would say is, whether in a romantic partnership or in a friendship, is no, like you got to get connected to your body and you got to notice when my heart is racing fast, when my mind is going a mile a minute, and I'm like, you're just agitated. You just feel it. Everything is just, I literally will say out loud, I'm getting really anxious. I need some time. I need some space, but I will be back. So that's been really helpful to me. And it's also, respectful and mindful of the other person. I'm not one to just cut somebody off. I don't have severe avoidant tendencies at all where I'll be like, boom, like you won't hear from. I will never do that to another person because I know what that's like. I know what that feels like. So what I do is I communicate it. And that I've become better at this because with myself, when you're by yourself sometimes, Madison, and you can think of a memory, or you're anxious about something, and you're literally by yourself in your house, fucking anxious, and you're like, oh my god, I'm like anxious, and I don't know what to do. Right? It's just like, what do I do? So when I got sober 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I had to learn how to deal with life without drugs and alcohol, and without relationships, because I was single and I was sober. So I started to talk to myself out loud. Like I'd always talk to myself out loud, but I made it a practice starting in 2019 because I was sober and I was living by myself and I didn't have a dude. I didn't have that masculine energy to ground me. And so I just would talk to myself. And when I was feeling anxious, I'd literally sit down and I'd be like, okay, what do we need right now? What's going on? And I would actually just talk to myself like, what's going on? And I'd be like, oh, I'm feeling really anxious right now. Okay, why are you feeling anxious? Oh, because, blah, blah, blah. And I would talk about the thing. I would literally just talk to myself. And I was tapping into these different parts of myself, right? I have this wiser side and then I have this anxious side. And I'm just trying to like keep myself chill, and soothe myself. So I did that with myself. So I'm able to do that in relationships. So you can't really practice with others what you don't do with yourself unless you have a partner or a friend who's also done the work and who can come together with you and kind of model that for you. But yeah, the way that I learned how to do that in relationships and friendships, and I'm still learning, it's every day, is doing it with myself.
It seems like you learned in the process of that, like learning how to love being alone and with yourself. Because
Yeah.
even, and I relate because I have anxious attachment. I've been uncomfortable with space and relationships, and learning the more I am still and practice time being alone and dealing with what comes up instead of busying my life to like cover it up, the more that I'm okay with that space because I like the person that I'm with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can I just tell you, like, loving your solitude is like next level because, like, okay, I'll be done working in the next 2 hours today. And then I'm like, like, I used to be that person that like nighttime would roll around, like 4 or 5 o'clock would come around. And I was just like, oh, I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have this. I don't have that. And now I'm like, all right, let's pop that edible. Let's start cooking our dinner. Let's play some music. Let's get our coffee ready for tomorrow. Let's get our juice ready. Let's put on some, let's put on some Real Housewives. Like I have my moments. I have my time with myself. Does it ever get lonely? I mean, of course, I'm a human being. I have sexual needs. Like I have needs to be, I want to be touched. I want to be given affection. But like the thing is, I've, because of how I've typically been in relationships, which is very clingy and very needy, and I will say that, I've had to learn how to give so much to myself so that I do not run after people who are unavailable. And that's the biggest, that's not the biggest flex. Oh my God. What am I saying? That's been the biggest change for me is that I, the more I learned to become available to myself, the less I chased after emotionally unavailable men.
Hmm. Yep.
I had to be available to myself. And, my father was an emotionally unavailable man. When I really think about it, as a daughter, I don't want to, I'll always be my father's little girl. I mean, I'm very close to my father, still am. He's slowly declining because he has a neurological condition. But when as I got older and I'm in my own relationships and I'm seeing things, I'm like, oh man, my dad was really unavailable. Like I'm really seeing when I really think about like this all feels so familiar. Like, have you ever been chasing somebody and you realize this feeling, while it's so painful, it's comfortable because the feeling of chasing. And when you really go back to the roots, you've probably been chasing since you were a kid, right? And when I'm being really honest with myself, that same energy that I used to have with men who were unavailable and I'm chasing after them, I would do the same shit with my father, always. And I came down to this. I know this just took another turn, but we're taking this conversation where it needs to go. One of the things that I realized And I realized this by saying this out loud to myself. I prompted myself with a few questions, is that I made myself very responsible for my father's happiness. And so when he was unhappy, I'd also make myself responsible for that. So I carried a lot of guilt in throughout my young adulthood and adulthood. Um, and it was often the reason why it was hard for me to walk away from relationships, no matter how toxic they were, because I felt responsible for these men. So that's just something, like, that's just a huge awareness that's come up just through the practice of saying it out loud. Like, I'm not saying you don't need therapy or you don't need coaches, because trust me, as someone who was in therapy for about, oh my God, 12 is 18 years of my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, starting from the age of 12. As someone who's been in therapy for a very long time, I can say, like, you can heal yourself when you learn to actually give every part of yourself a voice to be heard and not judge a single part of yourself, even that clingy part of you, even that needy part of you, even the manipulative part of you that's like, what do I need to say to make him love me? That part of us that we don't like, that part of us, because we know we're betraying ourselves. But even that part of us needs to be heard. So you can heal all the parts of yourself when you say it out loud.
I like that it's kind of this almost step by step, where it feels like you're saying it out loud to yourself and then you're saying it out loud to other people.
Yeah, well, it's actually based off my book, which is 12 steps. It's the 12. Well, so I'm a 12 stepper. I used to go through AA, NA, Narcotics Anonymous. And, we have our 12 steps. Number one is we admit that we are powerless over whatever, drugs, people, alcohol. And so I based my book off of the 12 steps. I made my own 12 steps. So the first step of my book is admit that you're powerless. But from there, it's all my stuff. It's not from the 12 step book, but it's like, it's a methodology. It's a methodology for you to give every single part of you a voice and a space to be heard. Because here's the thing. We want people to pay attention to us. We want a man to be present with us. We want someone who's grounded. We want all these things. And it's like, I hate to say it, but are you being every single one of those things to yourself? You got to be. And, would it feel good to have a man swoop in and be all those things for me? Yeah, but then he would do the job of loving me. And I don't want that anymore. I want the job of loving me. It's my job to love me. I got to give myself all those things first. So that's the season that I'm in. And that's just what I want to encourage everyone listening to also try to practice if that resonates with them.
Yeah, you did yoga teacher training, right?
Yeah.
There's like, what's that? There's some word for non-stealing. I don't remember what it is, but I always think about that all the time.
Yeah. Hold on, let's look it up. We'll figure it out. Hold on.
But I literally have been thinking, that's just been the top of my mind lately, of like not stealing other people's experiences, even if we want to like take their pain or take their emotions or hold it. Us doing that not only robs them of the opportunity to deal with their own emotions, but it robs ourselves of the ability to like create a relationship that's healthy. And so I don't know. I think about that when you're saying that, of your ability to, stay in your own body, in your own, voice, and be free within yourself, so that you're not, manipulating a situation to be something that's not good for you.
I like how you took that. The term in Sanskrit is asteya. It's asteya, Asteya. Asteya means non-stealing. And I love your interpretation of that. Like, we not only, when we try to fix, especially when we try to fix and obviously shame and judge, we're stealing the opportunity for other people to really be with themselves, because we're uncomfortable with what they're saying. So that's what I love about my group. I have never put together a group with women from different. So we range from 28 to about 42. I think I might be the oldest person. I'm 40. I think there's a woman who's a little bit older than me, or I might be the oldest in the group, actually. 40 years young. So we have from 28 to 40 women from different industries. We have coaches, we have yoga teachers, we have corporate. We have a girl who's an assistant to a photographer. We have a girl who works for the government, but everyone has one thing in common, and they have more than one thing in common. The thing that binds us all together is this commitment to our own self-expression and authenticity. It's like, listen, you do you be you, let me be me. And it's beautiful, because it's like, the more we just allow ourselves to be ourselves, you'll see that even though we externally look so different, we're internally all the same.
Let's take a quick break.
Having been in therapy since the age of 12, I know firsthand just how powerful the process of finding the right therapist is. Going to therapy and talking things out with my therapist has made me happier, clearer, and most importantly, I have a plan for my mental health. I have tools to be able to communicate with others and also the tools to cope when life gets hard, which it does. So let me ask you a question. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in this world who is going through a hard time, therapy can give you tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with the therapist. There's a link in my description. It's betterhelp, HELP.com/Vasavi. That's betterhelp.com/Vasavi. Clicking that link helps support this podcast, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp, so you can connect with the therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without stressing out about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. I don't know where I would be without the help of therapy and my therapist, but I do know that life would feel that much harder. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/Vasavi. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this podcast.
Yeah, literally. And something I read in your Instagram that I wanted to read, it said, we don't have to be 100% on to be enough for others. And I needed to write that down from your reel because I feel like that all the time. Like I need to be on and I need to be perfect and I need to take care of all the parts for them to love me. And so how can we say it out loud with ourselves or just be freely who we are and authentically who we are and let that be enough rather than feeling we have to go do all this other stuff to be enough.
Wow, what a good, first of all, I don't even remember saying that. Can you send that to me? Thanks. Where is that from? Okay, I'm like, cool. Okay, great. That's awesome. I'm glad that resonated with you. What I would say is, and I'm going to use this from my own personal experience as a former TV host. I would say be you when nobody is watching. Only you know who that is. I don't fucking know who you are. You know who you are. And if you don't even know who you are, then find out who you are. You know what I mean? It's I don't know who you are. You know who you are. And if you're saying, well, I don't know who I am, great. That's a great place to start. So who are you? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? What do you enjoy doing? What do you not enjoy doing? What are your opinions? I met this girl the other day. She had no opinion about anything. I'm like, you're like a cloud. You who are you? Like, do you have any convictions? Do you have any morals? Do you have any values? Like, she's like, oh, I'm down for whatever. And I get that. I can be a DFW kind of girl. Like when it's like, oh, we're at a pool. Hey, what does everyone want to eat? I'm down for whatever. Just no meat. That's my thing, whatever. I get it. You want to be, but it's like, if you don't know who you are, then the first thing I would just really get clear on is what do you like? What do you not like? What are the things that you've been saying that you like that you don't like? So for example, true story, I realized that every relationship that I was in, I morphed into my partner. So with my first husband, I morphed into the good Indian wife. I learned how to make all the Indian food. I dressed in all the Indian clothes. I learned the language. I did all that. In my second relationship, I was with a guy who was straight out of rehab. Then I became a coke addict along with him. I morphed into him. I was never an addict before I met him. I never had to go to rehab. And then by the end of our relationship, I was in rehab. Third guy that I was dating, we were engaged. He loved football. Then I started to love college football and tailgating. He loved going to baseball games and basketball games. So I would buy us tickets to go. He loved fish and jam bands. And I'm like, oh, cool, this is awesome. Or he loved country. I'm like, oh, I love country. No, I realized that about myself. I morphed into every partner that I was with. So really start to pay attention. Notice when you're around people, if you're just agreeing with them, because you don't want to be disagreeable. Just start noticing, is the shit that you're saying actually accurate? Like when someone's like, oh, I really like I really love this sushi place. And you're like, me too. It's like, no, I don't. Like, just stop lying. Like, that's it. Like, stop fucking lying. Stop lying about the things about who you are and start being honest about who you are. If you don't like something, say it. Or at least don't say that you like it, right? Like, it's not about, you don't have to always say out loud your truth, but if you're gonna talk, stop lying. You get what I'm saying? It's just like, and just be honest with yourself when you're by yourself. Like, just notice like little things, micro. Like, I had a judgment about myself about keeping the house a certain way. If I didn't keep the house a certain way, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm like this. And I'm like, what am I shitting all over myself for? Whose rules are these? Like, who's actually putting this pressure on me? So I think when you slow down, number one, slow down. Number two, be open and willing to notice where you are out of alignment with yourself, where you are incongruent, where are you lying to yourself about who you are, right? Start paying attention to those thoughts and say them out loud. Like, I'm such a frivolous example. It's after Labor Day, you want to wear white. And you're like, oh, I can't wear white because it's after Labor Day. Literally ask yourself, who the fuck made up the rules? Who said that you can't? I mean, I understand like the fashion god said that, but like those are the kind of things that I'm talking about. Like if you want to go do something, just go do it. If you want to wear stripes with polka dots, go do it. If you want to wear silver and gold, oh, you can't because mixed metal, like whatever the thing is. And I know we're talking about jewelry, but like that's the thing. It's like, even with my sister, I was talking to her about this breakfast sandwich that I made. And she was like, there's just too many conflicting flavors. And I'm like, whatever, I love it. That's what I'm talking about. Like I literally made this sandwich and it just made no sense to her. And she goes, that doesn't make sense. I go, to you, it doesn't make sense to you, but it makes sense to me. Yes, I know it's weird that I put queso on top of a veggie burger, but you know what? It tasted really good. She's like, it doesn't make sense. I go, and then we like laughed it off. Obviously it's my sister. We just laugh it off. But that's the stuff that I'm talking about. Like on Instagram. Oh, perfect. I hear this from women all the time. I don't want to oversell. It's like, listen, if you care about what you're doing and you're committed to what you're doing, just do it. Like, oh, I'm only supposed to post 3 times a day. Who fucking said that? Who said that? Whose rule is that? You know, like question everything, especially if it's making you miserable and you feel constricted by it. You know, like I've had clients that are like, I don't want to talk too long on my stories because it might annoy people. It's your fucking page. Do what you want. You want to go rant? You want to go do that? Go do it. You know, and here's the thing. Here's what you're going to notice. You'll start to become more mindful about what you're putting out there. You'll start to value the words that you have. You don't just do it to do it. I don't just do things to do it. If I do it, it has meaning behind it. If I do it, it's intentional. But I'm able to do that because I know myself. Right? If you don't know yourself, you're always going to be living your life according to what you think and how you think you should be. So really first thing is start to question all these rules. Who says? So what? So what if that's the rule? Do it your way. Make a decision. Do it your way. You know?
Oh, I know. I can feel like it feels like freedom, even just listening to what you're saying. Like I feel it in my body. Like
good. I want you to feel freedom in your body. That's exactly how you should feel. When we were kids, we had freedom. Anything was possible. Then we had these like watered down, cynical ass, condescending adults telling us how to be. And now you've become that. You've become cynical and condescending and you've become watered down. You don't need to be that way. You can go back to the way you used to be. It's way better.
It feels kind of like an internal like boundary, I guess, that I need to like practice. And I know a lot of people need to practice of like, this is me. This is what I've got. As long as I'm not being a complete asshole and I'm doing me, I don't have to worry about that stuff.
You don't have to worry about that stuff. And I'm going to just be really honest, Madison, is that we are the most toxic person in our life. We've become the abuser towards ourselves. So, you know, it's very easy to be like, well, other people, but you've become other people. The voices in your head are the other people. So is it really other people or is it just the voices in your head at this point? That's what you need to address. Have you ever just been like standing or just sitting and you have voices in your head and then you start arguing with the voices in your head and then you're like, who am I even arguing with? And it's like a former ex or it's like an argument you had with your mother or like your sibling or whatever. And then you're arguing with the voice in your head. Is that just me? Maybe it's just me, whatever. But I'm like, am I the crazy bitch here? Okay. But my point is literally it's us. We are the ones that we have to like, it's nobody else. Like, cause think about it. I'm here, but I could have like the voice of my mother in my head. My mom's not doing shit. It's just her voice. That's up to me to battle. That's not her. That's me. That's her. I've internalized her voice. I'm grown enough to realize that is not my voice. That is the voice of my mother. My mother is not the problem anymore, right? She's a 70-year-old woman. I'm not going to pick a bone with my mother. She's 70 years old. Like, what the hell? I'm 40. I can manage that voice in my head. I can talk to that voice in my head. My mother's not the issue. You know what I mean? It's so easy to be like, my mom did this, my mom did that. Also, granted, I have years of therapy where I have healed a lot of my childhood stuff. I'm not saying to anyone listening that what you went through in childhood doesn't matter. I'm not saying that. Please heal those wounds, go back and address that stuff. But ultimately, you have to be the one to do your own healing. You cannot keep blaming. You can't blame people in your life. They didn't know any better either, right? So at some point, you got to take life by the balls and be like, I'm living my life like for me. And that's going to be the hardest, scariest, and most liberating thing that you ever do.
Definitely scary, but it's a great responsibility to do that.
It is. And here's the thing, and I know it's a lot easier when you're single and have no kids. And I live alone with my dog and I am free as a bird. So I actually don't have anything stopping me except for the voices in my head. So I understand that it's a little bit more difficult when you're married, when you have kids, you have other people. But even in that container, do not make excuses as to why you cannot have your own sense of identity. Because before you were somebody's wife, before you were somebody's mother, you were your own person. You have to develop, you have to have your own identity. Your role in life is not just to be somebody's mother and somebody's wife. You're a human being and a woman first and foremost. So find out who you are, cultivate your hobbies outside of just the doing of the roles. That's just my point. But it is, for me, I have found it difficult because I do live alone and I am alone. There is this fear of like, oh, but I can't cut off my family, or, oh, I'm going to be really alone because I'm all alone. And what if I do things that my family won't like? But it's like, that's why you learn to love your own solitude. Because when you learn to love the shit out of yourself and your own company, you start getting less scared about leaving anyone behind or people not approving. Like, I have gotten myself, and this could just be my anxious brain, I've imagined a life where both my parents are dead. My sister, I'm close to my sister, but my sister and her husband are doing their thing and they have their two kids, my niece and nephew. But I've pictured a life of just me by myself with no parents. And I'm like, I'll be good. I'm good. Like, I've gotten to a point where I'm good no matter what. So that's what I just want everyone hearing to really like to get this. It's like, get to a place by feeling like you're going to be okay no matter what. And that comes with building that trust with yourself, building that security within yourself, that security that you're looking for in a partner. Get that from yourself.
Oh yeah, I've experienced that myself, of people coming along and folding into what they do, and then if we break up or if a friendship leaves or something happens, I'm left with what's left. I'm wondering, I want to wrap up here soon, but I want to first ask you, what are you saying out loud right now? Like, what right now is on your heart? What is the biggest thing that you're saying?
Why are you asking me the best questions? Okay, hold on. I'm like shouting. I love how I'm like saying it out loud isn't about being loud and I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs. These little sound waves, I can see them like amplified. I feel bad for everyone listening. Sorry. What am I saying out loud? I'm saying out loud, to be honest, I've spent a lot of time internally, but what I'm saying out loud is, well, it's what I said out loud yesterday night. It is not my fault that you are not happy. So I've been doing a lot of healing of the father wound, and I realized how much responsibility I placed upon myself to heal my father and be my father's source of happiness. And so I also realized, like, when he wasn't happy, I'd make it my fault. And then as I got older, I became promiscuous, and my daddy didn't love me like that, because I was becoming a teenager and I was smoking cigarettes, and my dad was like, he cut me off, and I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but, and then I learned how to get attention from men in other ways, sexually, right? Because I'm a pretty girl. I can be seductive. I think women, we know how to use our seductive ways. We know what we're doing. I felt a lot of shame around like a lot of my sexual experiences when I was 20. I've released a lot of that shame. Like I'm like pretty much like, okay, that I understand where I was at mentally at that point. But what I'm saying out loud these days is, it's not my fault if you're not happy. Like, it's not my responsibility. Your happiness is not my responsibility. That's been huge for me. And just letting go of that guilt, because like I've stayed in relationships way longer because out of guilt, like massively out of guilt. I've stayed in relationships way too long, like relationships that ruined my life, literally. Like put me in rehab. You know what I mean? Like the guys that I was with didn't give a fuck about what I was doing, and I was just like, "Oh, it's my fault. It's my," like I would just feel, I would take on all this guilt and shame and responsibility, but I've been doing a lot of work on on the father wound. And so I realized, and this is really hard for me because I love my father. My father is the kindest man, but he was also extremely emotionally unavailable. He has like the emotional availability of a pen cap. You know what I mean? But he's a kind man. I can't explain it. He's just the kindest heart. And he just, like, he's just, he's just a very sweet, gentle man, but he was very unavailable, and the more unavailable he was, the harder I worked to get his love. So I just always thought it was like my responsibility, like, oh, this is normal for me to be working, doing to get your love. And I'm just not doing it anymore.
I love that. That's one of the biggest things I've found in therapy, of that idea of I'm not responsible for another person's emotions.
Game
That's
changer.
really hard.
Game changer. It requires you to not say it out loud sometimes, because our need to want to fix it will like offer, and we'll do this and we'll go overboard, and then we're like, why did I even do that? So it's like, sometimes you don't need to say it out loud. Sometimes you just need to shut up and be with your own discomfort.
Yeah, that comes back to the self-soothing.
Yeah.
My last question for you, is there anything that we didn't touch on, or anything you want to leave people with?
No, what I just like to say is, if you enjoyed this episode and you would like to really get into this practice of saying it out loud, my group program will change your life. It's 3 months. We start August 5th. It's $500 for the 3 weeks. For the 3 months. $500 for 3 months. That's like a steal. Or I have a 3-part payment plan. And it's absolutely life-changing. You're working with somebody who's not only a trained therapist, but also a coach, but also someone who's been through a lot of shit in her life. I mean, my credentials aren't even the things that aren't even, that's not even the cherry. You know what I mean? The cherry on top is who I am as a person, the container that I create, the ground rules that we set, and just the vibe and energy. One of the girls mentioned that our program it allowed her to soften into her feminine. And I was like, that's really funny, because you wouldn't look at me and be like, oh, Vasavi is so feminine. But when I'm inside a group and I'm managing so many different people and their energy, I have a very beautiful way of leading and facilitating that I didn't even realize I had until I started this group. So yeah, it's a really safe, fun container. It's fun. It's every call is different. So please join the group.
I feel like I need to join the group.
Honestly, here's what I would say. No, I really appreciate your like putting aside the pride and saying that. A lot of the people that need to join my program are podcast hosts are people who have a platform, people have an important message, because like when you dig away at all the shit that you're afraid of saying out loud, you'll get to the root of what you really want to say. Like, what do you really want to say? When you work through those unresolved emotions and those fears of like, oh, I can't say this, I can't say that. And you say that in a group of people and you just acknowledge, like something happens. Like the next time you get back on camera, next time you hit record, there is a freedom inside of you that will allow you, like some deep ass truth that's inside of you, to come out. But and I'm saying this not just to you, I'm saying this to everyone, but if you're feeling like your message is watered down, or you feel like you're just not packing a punch and it's just not as authentic, it's probably not as authentic. It's probably not. If you have that feeling that you're not bringing you to the table, you're probably not bringing you to the table. You're probably bringing the version of you that won't be rejected, won't be scolded, won't be berated, won't be criticized. So let's work through that, clear that shit up, so that you are truly a clear channel and a conduit for God, the creative spirit, your message to work through you. So yes, I would love to have you in the program. I think you'd be awesome. You already ask really great questions, but I'm like, who else is there inside of you? What else is there inside of you? So yeah, like this is really a beautiful program for anyone who has a voice and wants to use it for good, because God knows we have so much people just spewing shit. So we need good people in this world to really start to share some truth that is actually healing.
No, I believe in it. And just listening to you talk, it's like, even if you had the most credentials in the world, like I believe in you from what you've said. Like I feel it.
Listen, here's what I want everyone hearing. You have the power to let people feel something. You're able to feel me because I have nothing getting in the way of what I'm saying. Do you get, like, that is the power, y'all, of saying it out loud. There is literally nothing getting in the way of my voice and my inside and my voice. There's nothing, oh my God, but what is Madison's audience going to think? Oh my God, well, I don't give a fuck. I'm here to do my job. My job is to spit some truth, period. My job is to be a messenger for God. That's it. So what you feel is nothing but the truth. And that exists inside every single one of us. So when we get rid of the barrier, which is, oh my God, my words have to pass through this filter. No, there's no filter. This is literally what you see. I'm not filtering anything. It's literally I'm just channeling it. So everyone has the power to do that. You got to practice though. You got to practice and you got to be honest with yourself and honest with other people. So thank you for saying that you feel something. We all have the power to feel, to allow others to feel something.
No, I feel it, and I feel myself more. And even just for my plans tonight, I'm ready to channel. And so I'm literally so grateful. I feel so lucky to be able to speak with you, and I'm so excited to share this with everyone. I'm so excited to potentially be in it.
Yes.
And I just appreciate it. I appreciate it so much in your time, because you're doing a lot of stuff. So it means a lot.
And then one last incentive. If you sign up before August 5th, you have since this is a group program, I know people love one-on-one attention. I know I do. So if you sign up before August 5th, you got a 30-minute Heal Your Inner Creative session with me, where we'll just talk through kind of, the most traumatizing time in your childhood where you were your creative self and then someone fucking, put a wet blanket, and we'll just work through it, talk it out, and move on. So you can join the program kind of like, oh, I released that memory. Awesome. So
Coming fresh, coming ready.
Coming fresh, coming excited, coming ready, coming honest, coming open. That's it. You start from day one. Yeah, it's a great group. I'm very proud of what I've created.
Yep. Yay. Thank you so much. And yes, everybody, follow along with her, join the program, all the things. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you just loved this podcast, and I hope you walk away feeling so free, so empowered, so ready to step into all that you are and to start saying it all out loud, to start really being the version of you that isn't afraid of what others think, that isn't afraid of who you've been, and is ready to be all that you are. So, guys, to follow up with her and learn more, I have all the stuff in the show notes, just where to find her website, the program, her podcast, all the stuff, so you can check it out there. Follow along with her Instagram, all the things. And guys, again, thank you so much for listening. I love you. I hope you learned so much, and I will see you next week.
If you love today's episode, then say it out loud. Subscribe, leave a review, and come say hi over on Instagram at My Name is Vasavi. Until next time, say it out loud.